Patty was saying, we were going to take you step by step how this greenhouse operates. Whether you're in a 10 by 10 room or a 120 foot greenhouse like we are, the equipment's all the same, just a little bigger, a little smaller, and the function of everything. So we're going to start right at the beginning, which is our reservoir. We have a 1,500 gallon tank in the ground here. And I am going to show you a couple things as we go, because I've made some pretty major mistakes too, but we're living with it. We've lived with it for 6 years, and we're going to change things as we can, and we can afford it in time. So we're going to start right down here. As I said, this is a 1,500 gallon tank. Now we only use about 500 gallons of it, and that was part of our problem here. Our water table's so high. This tank used to be right in the ground, and now it's been pushed up. So I've had to cut down the side, we've made it work. I mean, that's something you don't think ahead of time, I guess. We dug our hole, we were pretty good for a year or two, and then the water come up, and so did the tank. So we are going to eventually put one on top of the ground, but this is working for now. But anyways, let's go through the equipment we need just to get a simple system going. First, you need your tank, your water pump, which here, come around here, we're running a 1-horse in-ground swimming pool pump. This pump hasn't shut off for 6 years. So for $400, I mean, you can't go wrong. There are some pretty high-end pumps, but like I say, we've been running this greenhouse for 6 years now, the same pump. We finally just purchased another backup one last year. It's on the shelf in the garage, because you know, you don't want to lose your crops, so you got to have some backup. So this pump, to figure out your pump rating, each one of these troughs is running a quart of water, or between a liter of water and a quart of water, depending on where you are, every minute. Okay, so I can show you. I'll pull it out, and you can see that's roughly the flow. It's not a lot of water, so when you figure that out, you multiply it by your troughs. In this greenhouse, we have 340 troughs, roughly 325, depending on the time of year. So this pump is a 1-horse Hayward pump, which puts out at least 90 gallons per minute. So at 90 gallons per minute, I have plenty of water. All we need to run this greenhouse. So because there's lots of water, I was actually able to put a T in here, and I think you can see it. And what this is just extra water being pumped through the system. I piped it back into the tank. I capped it, and I drilled a bunch of holes in the cap, and now I've got a nozzle blowing some oxygen water back in and creating lots of bubbles. And I don't know if you can see it in there.
Let me try to...
Can you see it in there?
Without dropping my camera. I think they can see that. I'm not sure.
So there's a steady flow of bubbles being pumped back into there. So as far as oxygen, I've had no issues. Because of the size of the greenhouse, I'm running a 2-inch main line. And every 10 feet I've teed off, and we can go down here. You can see where we've teed off, and this is how I can control the flow. And again, I can open it up when I want to clean them out, or I can shut them right off if I have some maintenance work to do. They're hard to shut off after they've been running for a while. You've got to really play with it and clean it out. But anyways, it will shut off eventually. And now I got to get the right flow. And as far as you can just once you get used to the water flow, you can just eyeball it. We did measure it with a jar at the start, but now we know roughly how much water we have. So this is every 10 feet. And we did this just in case we do want to shut it off, do some maintenance, and also help control, get an even flow all through the greenhouse. So it's a very simple system. Water flows 24/7, never shuts off. I have a 3-inch slope on these troughs, and they're roughly just over 11 feet long. They run into an eave trough at the back end, which runs the full length of the greenhouse, and drops down back into the tank. And I know we've got lots of different questions along, over the last couple of videos, and people wanting to know different things. I had one guy ask me how water from this side of the greenhouse gets to that side. So I think you can see here, here's another main line where the water is flowing out of the troughs. And it's enough elevation, it runs right under the ground here and back into the tank. So It's not anything too difficult that the average guy can't figure out. It's just a steady loop. It's just a loop of water. You know? So basically that it will get your system going. You know, you don't need a whole lot of fancy equipment. I mean, as time goes by, you can add things like we did. 2 years ago, we added the grow lights. So we ran 3 years without them, and it's unfortunate we didn't have the means to get them earlier, because it sure made a difference in the production. It increased our production, you know, 200 or 300% in the winter months. Last year we added a dehumidifier. Again, it made a huge difference. But all these little things, you know, start adding up over, you know, the cost of them. So we get them as we can afford them. In the end of these two main lines, at the far end of the greenhouse, I have a hose set up that I can get rid of my water when I do a tank clean out. And we roughly do a tank clean out every 6 to 8 weeks. We actually take the water out of the reservoir, we pump it out back where we have a garden, and use the water there and the leftover nutrients. So like I say, every 6 to 8 weeks you're going to turn that over, depending on the size of your tank and how much you're using up. We do have to top that tank up every day. Different times of the year. Right now we add 50 gallons a day. In the summer months, pardon me, it's probably about three or four tanks. So that's 150 to 200 gallons of water. We'll show you later on how we mix that when we do the section on the nutrients. And then we have 2 external fans on the ends of the greenhouse.
The exhaust fans.
The exhaust fans, which pull the cool air through from the far end. I mean, that's basically all you need to get going. It's not a lot of, you know, infrastructure. It's just, if you're handy and you can do everything yourself, it's fairly easy to set up. And what we'll do now is, in the next segment, we're going to start over here where we actually do our seeding and our startup system, and then how everything, the crops flow through the greenhouse. Get started, and then we can deal with details as the comments and questions come in. Maybe every segment we'll actually add a couple answers to some of the comments that come up. So anyways, I hope that helps. Have a great day.
Bye.